Jay here for Stretford Paddock. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford for the paper talk, and in terms of whether it's starting to spit, it's spitting, get them in. As you would expect, much of the focus this morning in the papers is around England going out of the Euros in the final, losing on penalties to Italy. And unfortunately for us, two of the players that missed penalties were from Manchester United. Well, one of them is a Manchester United player in Marcus Rashford, and the other one is soon to be a Manchester United player in Jadon Sancho. And they've been getting racially abused on social media, along with Bukayo Saka from Arsenal, who also missed the other penalty that England missed. It's the same old story, and it's just tiring and disgusting, and I'm sick of seeing this sort of thing. It happened in 2012 when it was the likes of Ashley Young and Ashley Cole who missed penalties. They were racially abused on social media. 9 years on, we're still having the same issues. It's been condemned by everyone who you'd expect to condemn it, the usual suspects. Politicians, for example, the FA apparently are looking at it as well. But it just needs to stop. These players have stepped up to take a penalty for their country, trying to do their best, and they're getting abused for it. It's just not on at all, and it's something that needs to be addressed. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know, people coming out with all sorts of ideas how to tackle it. It's not a new issue. It's not just going back to the England games that I've mentioned in 2012. It's been going on almost since social media was a thing, and we need to crack down on it and stop it, because it's horrible to see. And I just hope now that Manchester United fans, as we've done in the past, rally round our players. It's not the first time United players away with England have got an abuse. Usually, you know, we've had it in the past with the press even turning on the likes of David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo, Phil Neville. But this time it seems to be more on social media. But as we have in the past with those players, we rallied round them. We made them feel welcome here. We made them feel protected here. And that's what we should do now with Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho. Show them that no matter what goes on social media, no matter what people say in terms of England, when it comes to Manchester United, we will always protect them and back them. And I'm looking forward to seeing both those players back for Manchester United next season. And hopefully, in terms of Marcus Rashford, he can get the operation that he's needed. I think he's due to have is it an ankle up or a shoulder up? I think he needs a couple, but I think he's prioritising one. Get some rest, come back, and obviously Jadon Sancho, new signing, who we're all very excited to see. I hope they're not paying too much attention to some of the morons on social media. As always, there's transfer rumours as well. You know, things move on from the Euros, and with Manchester United, there's always lots of transfer stories and transfer rumours. There's a rather silly one, if I can say that, in the Express this morning about Harry Kane coming to Manchester United. Now, people say, well, why'd you read out if it's silly? Well, it's in the papers. This is a paper talk. This is what we do. So, yeah, Manchester United set Harry Kane transfer price by Tottenham with Daniel Levy convinced, says the Express. Goes on to say Manchester United will have to pay 200 million in order to sign Harry Kane. That's not going to happen, is it? We're not going to buy Harry Kane. We're not going to spend 200 million. I think Jadon Sancho at 73.9 million, is it, will be our biggest signing this summer. So I would be absolutely shocked beyond belief if we spend all that money on Harry Kane. I just don't see it happening. I think that's just a case of putting Harry Kane and Manchester United in a headline. There's also some claims that there could be some sort of swap deal involving some of our players going on, but it just seems like it's unlikely. Now, the Express have got this from Tutor Mercato Web, who say United are in the mix to sign Kane and will have to pay 200 million. Yep, not happening. So, as always, we'll keep you posted if that, miraculous transfer happens, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Moving on to other things, Paul Pogba price has been set. Talking of prices being set. Now, there's been a Paul Pogba sort of stories. Well, there's been Paul Pogba reports and stories going on since 2011. But there's some more recently, because obviously his contract runs out in a year's time. There's some sort of speculation that either he's going to sign a new deal, United are going to make him the highest paid player in our history, or he's going to move on. And the usual suspects are in for him, mainly PSG. And United apparently have set a £50 million price tag. It says French newspaper L'Equipe recently reported that Paris Saint-Germain would test the Red Devils' resolve with an offer in the coming weeks. And it's reported that United won around half of what we paid for him when we bought him from Juventus. We paid 89 million quid. We want around half. Well, that's not 50 million. That's around 44 and a bit million in it. Anyway, around a £50 million mark to get Paul Pogba this summer. But clubs may well wait. They may well wait till next summer, and they can get him for free if he doesn't sign a new deal. I said it the other week. I said he was talking about going back to Juventus. on a free. And can you imagine that? He goes from United to Juventus on a free. We buy him off Juventus for 89 million quid, and then he goes back there for a free. That, by even Manchester United standards, would be shambolic. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure there's going to be lots and lots of speculation, but we need to start getting this deal done, whether he moves on or he stays. I want him to stay. We'll have to wait and see what happens, because I think it's in January where he can sign a pre-agreement and sort of cement his move away from Old Trafford. And then you've got, from January to the end of the season, a player that's definitely moving. It's not a great situation that Manchester United find ourselves in, and I do blame the club for this. You can point fingers at Paul Pogba all you want, and I'm not just going to say he's completely blameless in all the sort of transfer stuff that's gone on, but you look at Paul Pogba and look at Manchester United. We brought him in from Le Havre when he was a kid. Le Havre weren't happy about that. We knew that this was a player that, you know, they'd worked on, they'd sort of nurtured. We got him anyway. We got him in on a short-term deal, and then when he was old enough, he moved on to Juventus. Then we bought him back here. So he's a player that, you know, is open to moving to different clubs. I'm not saying he's a, you know, a charlatan or a mercenary, sorry, because he's not. He's only been to about 3 clubs in his life. But, you know, he is a player that isn't necessarily destined or determined to stay at Manchester United forever, because he's already left us once. So you need to make sure that you put in a deal in place, or if you've not got a long-term deal in place, or if you do think he's going to move on, that you get the best price for him. And we've done neither, and we've left it get to this scenario now where, with 12 months left on his contract, it could be available for even a relative low fee, because even for a player like Paul Pogba, for a player like Paul Pogba, 50 million quid, I know 50 million quid's a lot of money, but for a player of that calibre, isn't that much. Or he could go for nothing. It's just not good enough, in my opinion. There's also other rumours of United transfers. I'm sure this one is just to make me butcher the name. I'm sure this is just a rumour. They found a name here that I'm going to struggle to pronounce, and then they put it in a paper. It says United make, I'll go for this, Elias Mariba offer amid Barcelona contracts uncertainty. Obviously, Barcelona are having all sorts of issues with players apparently being forced to leave or could leave because they haven't got the money to pay them. Memphis Depay, who's coming in, has had to take a pay cut apparently from the initial contracts that he signed. And now Spanish outlet Fijellas say United are interested in an 18-year-old midfielder and have already tabled an offer worth €20 million for his signature. So there's one to keep an eye on. I don't know a lot about the kid, but we'll keep you posted if that has any legs to it at all. Are Barcelona going to end up selling some of their fringe players? Perhaps they are, because they are in a bit of a financial pickle. Also, United are interested in Italy right back. It says that United, this is according to La Stampa, are in for Giovanni Di Lorenzo from Napoli and could get him for around £17 million. Kind of makes sense, this one, if you think about it. 17 million quid for a right back was around the figure we were looking at for Kieran Trippier, and then apparently that went up to around €40 million, which is just ludicrous for a player who's 30 years old and has got 1 year left in his contract. So now it seems that we could be in for La Stampa. I had a look at this, La Stampa, sorry, Di Lorenzo, according to La Stampa. I had a look at this and did it through the old translate, and you know, when you do the translate, it doesn't always make complete sense, but it basically says that we're in for him and that Manchester United are ready to put a €20 million into the pot, bid into the pot there, to try and bring him in from Napoli as an alternative, you would expect, to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So he could be one to keep an eye on. It could be one that's heading here. There has been talk of us going in for a right back. I still rate Ethan Laird. He had a great loan spell away at MK Dons last season. Could he come in and do a job next season as an alternative to Aaron Wan-Bissaka? He's certainly a different type of player. Likes to get forward a lot. There's been question marks regarding his fitness because he's had a lot of injury issues over the past couple of years. But last season, he did have a pretty consistent run on loan. So we'll wait and see what happens, whether it is Di Lorenzo or anyone else. Also, the usual suspects, I round up with them. Raphael Varane, reports that we could use 2 swap deals. Duncan Castles, who a lot of people don't like, but I've got a bit of a soft spot for Duncan Castles. We interviewed him when we were full-time Devils, and I quite liked him, even though he's, you know, probably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, you know, most hated, or he hates Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more than any journalist. I actually don't mind Duncan Castles. He's been saying that United could use maybe Donny van der Beek to bring in Raphael Varane as a part of a sort of a swap deal, or even Paul Pogba as a potential swap deal there. We'll have to wait and see. Real Madrid obviously open to selling Raphael Varane, who's got a year left on his contract, wants to move. United in for him. Could there be a swap deal with someone like Donny van der Beek, who's not had much of a chance yet, and Paul Pogba, who looks like he could be on his way? Kind of sort of makes sense in a way. And just finally on Camavinga, there's nothing new here. It's just the same story that we had last week, but it's been reported again, is that Chelsea are also in for the Ron Starlet, as he's been termed, the midfielder, 18-year-old midfielder who Manchester United are in for, and now we could face opposition or rivalry from Chelsea, who are also looking to bring him in. So we'll see what happens with all those players. We'll see whether it's Camavinga, whether it's Di Lorenzo, whether it is Varane. We'll also keep you posted on the fallout from that horrific abuse that the players have had to suffer following England's exit from the Euros in the final, though. So it's a step forward in terms of what England have done in major competitions of late, but it's just horrible to see that abuse, and hopefully it can be clamped down on even. We will bring in you all the latest news. Make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe, and hit that notifications bell. We'll have the Paddock podcast later on. We'll have the transfers live as well tonight. I think it's Joe Smith who will be there for that one. So we'll have all the latest Manchester United news. As you would expect, it's just starting to rain here at Old Trafford. So I'll wrap this up. I've been Jay Motti. This has been the Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.